The following program contains language, topics, and themes not intended for a younger audience or for pansy-ass liberals who need these type of trigger warnings. Viewer discretion is advised. It's time for the most outrageous, controversial, and politically incorrect show on the internet. So put your virtual hands together for Carmine Sabia and Mike Sarno, those damn Jersey guys.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Those Damn Jersey Guys. I'm your host, Carmine Sabia, along with my co-host, Mike Sarno, and we got a jam-packed show for you today, including an interview a little later on with President Donald Trump himself. But we're going to start the show by talking about Senator Jeff Flake changing his vote at the hearings for Judge Brett Kavanaugh. I think he changed the vote because of the women that accosted him in the elevator. What say you?
Okay, well, according to what Jeff Flake said, the two women in the elevator did not sway him either way. He already had this on his mind, and it was Jeff Flake who motioned to Coons to go back in that little room to talk to him. They went back there, and then he was surrounded by I don't know how many, but there was a lot of Democrats all talking to him. And he must have said, okay, listen, I'm going to give you what you want. I will give you, because everybody, it's not even the Democrats, everybody is talking about FBI, FBI, FBI. I'm going to give you FBI, but I'm going to put a condition on this. And that condition is going to be 1 week. And he reiterated it. He said it twice in that little statement that he made to the committee. So and the way he said it, I could read his body language. He made sure that they understood that we are not going past 1 more week. It ain't going to take long for the FBI to question these people. They don't come up with a determination, as you know, but they are going to say basically what everybody has been saying. And nobody can say anything else, because guess what? You can't change your story under penalty of perjury, because you're going to tell your truth now, if you will. Guess what happens? Now you're on penalty of perjury. You better tell the truth and stick to your story, or else you're in trouble.
First of all, I hate the damn expression, her truth, his truth, my truth, your truth. There is just truth and lies. There's truth and lies. You don't get your own truth. But be that as it may, the reason why what Jeff Flake did was a genius move. He gives them the FBI investigation that they really didn't want, but they wanted to use as a talking point. Well, now you're going to get your FBI investigation. So now they got a week to come up with excuses about why the FBI investigation wasn't long enough, wasn't thorough enough, wasn't good enough, didn't talk to enough witnesses. They're going to do all that. But what Jeff Flake does is he gives now Senators Collins, Murkowski, and Manchin the out. He gives them the cover to say, well, we looked at the FBI investigation. They could not corroborate any of the story, which, of course, they can't do from 3 decades ago. And we're going to give them our vote yes. Now they can go back to their constituents and say, we voted for the man because we couldn't prove he did these crimes. We're not saying we don't believe her, because you got to believe every woman, which is another sham. Okay, fine. We believe that she was assaulted, but we can't prove that Kavanaugh did it. And I listen, after hearing her testimony, I believe she was assaulted by somebody. But there's no way you are not 100% sure of the date, 100% sure of the house, 100% sure of everybody else there. You're not sure of any of those things, but you're 100% sure it was Brett Kavanaugh. I have spoken to survivors of rape since that hearing, and they said it's just not believable that she could be 100% on one thing and not everything else.
Okay, well, here's the other thing that people are not really talking about much. They say, well, what did you have to drink? Oh, I had 1 beer. Really? Do you know any 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds that go to parties and have 1 drink? I never did. Let's just say, for instance, that they were both drinking, and let's just say they had a little makeout session, and he was a little forceful, because, hey, they're both having drinks, they're getting hot and heavy. I think it was a makeout session that got a little out of hand, and she just said, no, I'm not doing this. Come on, get off me, and blah, 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 blah. And she went down the stairs. It wasn't this big, major, attempted rape. That's not what this was, okay, if, in fact, what I'm saying is true.
Yeah, I don't think what you're saying is true. I think if it was a makeout session, he would say that. He would say it was a makeout session. He says this never happened. He never had this type of interaction with Ford. So I think that argument's out the window. It's by the wayside, because that's not what happened. That's not what he said happened. That's not what she said happened. So To make up scenarios, I think, is irresponsible. I'm not going to jump on with that. Something happened to her. I don't know what, but I don't believe it was this man who did it. I just simply don't. And when you talk about if we're going to bring everybody's yearbook, everybody's childhood activities into this and question their credibility based on what they're saying, I've read Christine Ford's yearbook. It's full of drinking, and they talk about promiscuous sex, and then you're going to tell me at this one party she was sainted, she had one beer, and she didn't mess around with any of the boys at 15 years old? Come on. We're acting like teenagers should be behaving like adults in an office setting. These are teenagers at a teenage party in the 80s. And these senators I'm watching talk about, well, sir, how many beers do you have? Talk to anybody in Washington, D.C. Half of these senators are fall down drunk on a Thursday. And they're going to talk to somebody about how much they're drinking? It's the height of hypocrisy.
Well, no, you got to understand something. I was just playing devil's advocate, okay? Because she was so, remember her famous line, 100%. That's why I'm playing devil's advocate here. Because she said 100%, and he's basically saying, absolutely not. I did not do that. Again, keep in mind what I'm saying. If there is a possibility that maybe between her drinking and his drinking, they didn't realize it at the time at a party.
Okay, I get what you're saying, and it makes sense if they were drinking and he doesn't remember. But I want to ask our next guest what he thinks about this entire process. So that means it's time for
today's special guest.
Mr. President, first I want to welcome you to the show. It's a unique honor to have the President of the United States sitting with us, those damn Jersey guys, for an interview. Now, President Trump, I want to start with the Kavanaugh confirmations that were held this week. Mr. President, a lot of people believe that it is actually Senator Schumer who's behind this entire effort to destroy Judge Kavanaugh's path to the Supreme Court, that he is the ringleader behind this. What are your thoughts on the senator?
Nice guy. If you enjoy the whole irritable grandpa thing. Seems like someone who always wants to complain to the manager.
Welcome, Mr. President. Mr. President, the fact is that Senator Feinstein held on to this letter from Dr. Ford for 7 weeks. They could have had that investigation if they wanted to, but they held on to it until the last minute. Now, I know how you feel about what she did, but what do you think of Senator Feinstein as a person?
She comes from a long line of Americans who like to talk when they don't know what they're talking about, okay? She's got an axe to grind, and she probably uses it to shave that chin every morning.
Ouch. Brutal, Mr. President. Brutal. She is 85 now and running for another term, so you might have to deal with her for a while. How long do you think she intends to stay in the Senate?
As long as the spell that keeps her alive lasts.
Oh, my God. Mr. President, you're always attacked on The View by the likes of Whoopi Goldberg and Joyless Behar. If you could say anything to them right now, what would it be?
Isn't a whoopee cushion something that farts when you sit on it? Have me on, so you can finally get more than 20 people watching your show.
That's true. Their ratings have been in the tank, Mr. President. But there's another network that actually takes you on pretty rough, and that's CNN. They do a pretty big hit job on you every night. Do you ever watch the network?
Yes, because I love fiction. Fake news is entertaining.
Yeah, you got a point there, sir. They do peddle fake news. Mr. President, we are out of time for this episode, but if you had to pick one person who could defeat you in 2020, who would that be?
Myself. I may run against me. That would be interesting.
All right. Well, Mr. President, thank you for joining us. It has been a unique honor and a privilege to have you here on Those Damn Jersey Guys. And I want to thank you, the listening audience, for tuning into Those Damn Jersey Guys. Tune in next show when we have another special guest and another wacky interview with one of your favorite or least favorite politicians.
Your support is important. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. If you don't have any friends, share with strangers.